as we move on to strategy, tactics, best practices for those looking to start investing in politics and world events, what are the strategies that successful traders use within predictive marketplaces?
I mean, are we talking about people who are successful traders, or what you can just do right now, today, get your feet wet, get your hands dirty, and just not worry about losing your whole bankroll?
How about somewhere in the middle of that?
All right. Well, I mean, look, we said it. We said it on part one, right? Like a successful trader might be a partisan, but certainly doesn't have his partisan blinders on. There's an element of curiosity and openness to new information. You got to be that guy. You can't be the guy who only bets the over on Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders. You got to be the guy who's looking for an advantage. Like this is universal for bettors, right?
Understandable. What if you are someone though that is more, you're a little more hesitant, I guess, going into it? What would be the strategy for someone who's really, really new and wants to kind of take it slow?
All right. I got a couple like no-brainer plays for you here. Okay, these aren't bets. These are just like ways to approach the
Got
game.
it. Good.
All right. Whoever like the culty candidate in politics is, I don't care if it's Donald Trump, I don't care if it's Bernie Sanders, I don't care if it's AOC, they always bring like a wagon train of dumb money into betting markets. So usually if you just bet against those culty candidates, you're going to get a chance to exit the market profitably. You're going to get that chance to see your stock rise, to take your money and go do something else with it and to have more of it. So I think that that's always a good strategy. Now, we talked about in part one that these markets, these betting markets or politics function like stock markets, right? So when you look at a stock market, what do you see? You see a chart. You see that Tesla went up this day because Elon said that, and it went down that day because he got high with Joe Rogan. Okay, well, these political betting exchanges also have charts. And what you'll find is that most bets trade within a window, just like stocks. Donald Trump to be president will usually be between 35 and 40 cents. So you just put in the buy order for 35 cents. You buy the shares, you put in the sell order for 40 cents. You don't need to know who the next president is. You just need to know what betting markets think the highest and lowest chance for the near future is going to be. There's just like, there's lots of stuff like this. Nothing in politics is always the most likely outcome. Traders see bets like, will the China competition, whatever they're calling it, bill pass the Senate? They start writing the story in their head. Chuck Schumer loves this bill. Joe Biden likes this bill. They start creating this story for why things are going to happen. Most of the time, they're not going to happen. Be biased towards things not happening. There's innumerable strategies to get a kind of low risk way to teach yourself how to play in these markets.
Okay, good stuff. Good examples. As a reminder, in addition to your own website, Star Spangled Gamblers, you have some recommendations for a couple of pretty reliable news outlets as it's related to, again, we're talking outlets to make good investments here, to be very clear on that. Why don't you talk to us about some of those?
Well, you can't really go wrong. I mean, there's ways you can go more right. You read the stuff that lobbyists in Washington read. Everyone will send you their newsletter. Read Punchbowl, read Axios, read Politico. These are people, all they do is cover gossip in Washington, and that's what you need. You need the gossip. Now, if that's too boring for you and you want to like hate watch Rachel Maddow or get your partisan jollies off watching Sean Hannity or whatever it is, okay, that's still an opportunity because you can learn how people think. And once you understand how those people think, you can bet against them and you can take their money. So no amount of effort will go unrewarded. It's just that you got to do the work.
Okay, so we've got outlets as far as recommendations go. Now, how should the casual person now getting involved in these markets, how should they interpret and react to news they see?
As minimally as possible would be
Okay.
probably, I mean, is that consistent in sports that people always overreact to an injury or a weather forecast or something like that?
How about a weather forecast?
How about a weather forecast? Yeah, I mean, markets love to panic. And, I've been doing it for a couple of years now. And it's when you see your share prices dropping, when you see the portfolio value of yours go from 5-10 grand to 4 or 7 grand because of one bad news cycle, that's hard to stomach. But more often than not, politics in America, if you remember your history classes, the government is set up to basically, it's impossible to do anything in our government, which means that most stories are overplayed. Like that thing is not going to happen because power is so spread out. So just remember that. Don't panic when you lose money, and sometimes take the profits when when you see that quick gain.
So, kind of going in the order we have, right? We've got an understanding of where to get the news, and now folks are getting into the marketplace. So, what are some, as I said, we're getting the picks now, the good stuff. What are some strategies, or what direction would you take people in now as it pertains to going into the market?
Well, I told you that I'm always biased against the government doing anything, right?
Yes, confirmed.
Here's the one thing I am not biased against the government doing, which is stopping its tax collection. So I think that is a great idea, for example, to bet against, you can do this on Kalshi, which we talked about on the last episode, to bet against the government putting a gas tax holiday in place. Gas prices are high, but the government wants your money. They are not giving you a tax break on your gases. Daylight savings time. Okay. What does some Democrat who is in deep, deep doo-doo this election cycle, I'm sorry if that offends you, but that is the trend right now. What does he or she want to do less than explain to some random person on a campaign stop why daylight savings time ended? It was a very weird Twitter cycle. It's not happening. Okay, this is another easy thing to bet against. No daylight savings time changing. Can I give you a DGen pick now?
Of course.
All right, you remember Dr. Fauci, right? Anthony Fauci, COVID guy?
Yes.
Okay, right now for 25 cents. So if you remember, minimum value 0 cents. If you win, your share is worth $1. Okay, so like 4-to-1 payout here that Anthony Fauci will leave his job before the end of the year. I think that what's going to happen is the Republicans are going to win the House convincingly. They are more likely than not going to win the Senate. And Dr. Fauci is not going to want to answer subpoenas from like Diamond and Silk or whoever it is that's running the oversight committees on the Hill. So I think Fauci's going to get out of town. I think that's a great value buy at 25 cents that Fauci says, you know what? I'm 80, however many years old. I've had a long career. I supervised the crisis of a century. Maybe this is a good time to chill.
We want you to keep going because, I mean, how do you top that last one? But what else you got for us?
Okay. Great state of Georgia, Atlanta Braves, Atlanta Falcons. There is a bet right now on Predict It. Will Donald Trump be criminally indicted in the state of Georgia? Well, guess what? If you read the rules, always read the rules, okay? The panel that is examining Trump does not have the legal authority to issue a criminal indictment. I will take that no every single day. This is just a fact. In political gambling, you can get the answer before the game is even played. So take advantage of that, okay? Joe Biden. People love to hate the president. This is America. What do people like doing more than complaining about the president? Maybe taking selfies on Instagram. That's it, okay? Still have the opportunity right now to get a 3-to-1 payout that Joe Biden runs for president and is the nominee in 2024, okay? The odds are lower on Joe Biden being the next president than Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis on the Republican side. That is shit crazy. Take those odds. These are not things that you need to be a genius to discover. Like, you don't have to be one of Barack Obama's cousins to win on these lines, right?
Well said. I think we got the gist. How about we move forward now? What are some, for those looking to take the big swings, which those are compelling. I mean, those are some compelling picks to take a big swing, and they want to just buy and hold for the biggest payout later. What are some examples of signals versus examples of noise?
Okay, I'm going to tell you my favorite one. Politics is pretty shallow, right? Like, I'm actually sitting in Washington, D.C. right now. They say it's Hollywood for ugly people. I like to look at the physical appearance of senators and cabinet members, and that's going to tell me a lot about what they're thinking. So I put a healthy amount of money on Mike Pompeo. I don't know if you remember him. He was the Secretary of State for Trump. He looks a little bit like the Penguin from Batman. Okay, Pompeo lost like 100 pounds. That tells me he is running for president in 2024. So I went out and bought for 5 cent shares that Pompeo would be the Republican nominee. I fully expect him to declare And I think that my 5 cent shares will be worth at least 7 or 8 cents when that happens. So I'm sort of creating a story here based on his physical appearance, that potentially can get me, double my money if he just even gets into the race. So be shallow, because politicians are. Look at how they appear. Look at Kirsten Sinema's body language when she walks down to the Senate floor to vote. And you don't know, 50-50 senator, you never know what she's going to do. Guess what? If she's in a bad mood, she's voting against her own party. Body language, superficial. These are important things for betting on politics.
That is literally a signal. Like, that is an example of a signal. Like, that signaled you the loss of weight.
Right. It's very important. It's very important. Bill
Yeah, it's
Cassidy.
good.
Bill Cassidy's hairstyle. He's another moderate senator from Louisiana. Look at his haircut. If it's high and tight, he's going to be pissing someone off today. You got to be careful. It is as ridiculous as it sounds, Brendan.
I know. I'm trying to like keep a serious face, but I'm like, oh, this is where this is going. How about examples of noise?
The people that you see on Fox News and CNN are not the people who have power. So you can usually tune out what they have to say. They're not really telling you the direction the country's going in. They're sort of telling you the direction that like spammy fundraising emails to easily dupe donors are going in. So just if they're on Fox News every night, if they're on CNN every night, they're not the person you need to be paying attention to. You need to figure out the person who really does have power.
Makes sense. I figured that was the angle you would take, something along those lines. Can trading, Alex, in these markets make you feel better about the world of politics, or smarter, less angry? What are your thoughts there on the trading angle?
I mean, it makes me feel better about politics. I think that a lot of frustration that people have about the world is that we live in this weird era where there's like too much information and people don't know what to do with it. And I mean, you can't be throwing thousands of dollars around if you don't really understand what's going on. And when you really understand what's going on, when you really follow these senators or presidents or voters in random parts of the country, you realize that everyone's like trying to do their best and they have different ideas about what their best is. But the people at least have their hearts in the right place. So I love it. And it's fun. I mean, you make friends doing this. You make good trades, make a name for yourself, meet new people. I think it's actually very fulfilling.